Sotheby's forthcoming evening auction, Rembrandt Richter, features many of the key British movers and shakers of their day. Titans of British Modernism, such as Ben Nicholson and Barbara Hepworth. Artists such as Christopher Wood, Samuel John Peploe, Edward Burrough and Marlow Moss, who found their inspiration amongst the Parisian avant-garde. Stanley Spencer and Cedric Morris, whose inspiration remained resolutely closer to home. And a bold new generation of artists, including Frank Auerbach, who forged their careers in London in the aftermath of the Second World War. Sotheby's upcoming sale, Rembrandt Richter, is a unique evening auction, spanning categories over 500 years of art. Adding to the conversations, connections and contrasts is a fantastic selection of the very best of British art in the 20th century. In Girl with a Mirror, we see a beautiful, highly romantic portrait of the British sculptor Barbara Hepworth, made by her lover Ben Nicholson. For Nicholson, Hepworth was both muse and equal. He was in awe of her talent as much as he was in love with her unique profile, with her broad forehead and wondrously large liquid eyes. This exquisite drawing was made in 1933 when they shared a Hampstead studio, the epicentre of sophisticated bohemianism in Britain at the time. Scottish colourist Samuel John Peploe was one of the most avant-garde Scottish artists of his day. Peploe was influenced by the Dutch Old Masters, but also became fascinated by Cézanne and Matisse during his time in Paris. His modernist style forged a radical response to the centuries-old traditional subject matter of the still life. Edward Burrough was another artist thrilled by the Parisian avant-garde when he visited France in the 1920s. Drawn to those people on the fringes of acceptable society, the pointing finger features one of Burrough's most intriguing characters, resplendent in a lace gown and framed by a classical landscape reminiscent of Giorgio de Chirico. Back in Britain, a deeply British but no less compelling avant-garde was emerging. Christopher Wood's untimely death aged 30 has made him one of the tragic heroes of 20th century British art. An opium addict in the hedonistic avant-garde world of 1920s Paris, Wood became close friends with Ben Nicholson and his first wife Winifred, and like them, was drawn to the natural landscape around him. Painted in the summer of 1930, shortly before he took his own life, Treble is a distillation of Wood's love for the wild, romantic Brittany landscape. Many artists escaped London to wilder, more isolated places. Modern-day Renaissance man Cedric Morris was a pioneering painter, botanist and teacher. He founded his art school in the bohemian hub of East Anglia, where a young Lucian Freud learned to see the world with such startling clarity. Cabbages is a nod to the old masters, with an unorthodox modernist sensibility and one of the most significant works by the artist to be seen on the market. Freud was also influenced by the grand old master of British art, Sir Stanley Spencer. The garden Leonard Stanley is Spencer at his best. Drawing on English precedents such as John Constable, Spencer created his own unique realism, drawing out extraordinary details to be found in the everyday life around him. Here, a bird's eye view of a simple front garden. Frank Auerbach escaped Nazi Germany as a child and has lived and worked in London ever since. Julia Yardley Mills, more widely known as JYM, was one of his longest-serving models and sat for him in his London studio for over 50 years. Auerbach built up layers of paint, scraped them back and added more and more until he felt he had captured JYM's very presence. Finally, we have Marlow Moss, one of the century's most brilliant outsiders. Openly queer in an era when homosexuality was illegal, Moss was one of the Britain's most radical painters during the 1930s. In Paris, she became a close associate of Mondrian's, and with the Nazi occupation was forced to leave behind many of her paintings. Her work is now incredibly rare, a tantalising glimpse of an incredible talent.